So we start the season right where we left off last season, right? It was the aftermath of the Entertainment District fight, and our heroes are just happy to be alive. But in this season, they're basically dead. And Bossman Demon Slayer is like, yo, it's been like 100 years, we ain't done shit, but finally, we killed some upper rank demons, we coming for your ass, Michael Jackson. Then we see Akaza pull up to the set of Inception. And it's here we see the top 5 ranking demons.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Tanjiro wakes up at the crib, and after a while he starts feeling better. Zenitsu, Tengen, and Inosuke are all alright. But for this season, they're all sent off doing some other missions, so we're not gonna worry about them niggas. Anyway, if you remember, Tanjiro's sword got all fucked up, so he needs to get a new one. And this is how he ends up taking a trip to the Swordsmith village. And while here, he runs into Big Titty Hashira and the dude Genya from the training arc way back in season 1. The next day, he runs into the Mist Hashira, who's also here. And by the way, the Mist Hashira is one of the most devoid of personality niggas I have ever seen. But anyway, Misty Boy's training him with this doll or something that happens to look like Tanjiro's dad, this dude in the flashback, and the number 1 demon. Why they all look the same? I don't know. Misty Boy ends up breaking the doll, and his little kid gets mad. The doll been in his family for generations, and he's kind of taking care of it. Anyway, he fixes it, Tanjiro uses it to train, and then Tanjiro breaks it too. But when he breaks it, the head comes off, and there's a 300-year-old sword inside. Then Tanjiro's swordsmith comes out of nowhere, and he takes the sword, is like, yo, I'm gonna make you a dope-ass sword with this, just give me a little bit of time. Here, take this one instead. In the meantime, the 2 demons for this season are already on the scene causing havoc. And while Tanjiro and Misty are chilling, one of them has the audacity to pull up to the crib unannounced. And Misty wastes no time springing into action. And he actually cuts his head off. But then dude splits into 2 completely different people. And Tanjiro's like,
what the hell? Oh my God, no way.
And one of them got this fan thing that I need in this Texas heat, cause Lord. Anyway, the fan thing blows Misty Boy away, and now it's just Tanjiro and Nezuko left with Fanboy and Staffman here. So Staffman got lightning powers, right? And while he's shocking Tanjiro, Tanjiro looks up and he sees Genya. Now Genya the realest nigga in the show so far. He pulls up with his sawed off like he's in Boys in the Hood and does some work. He shoots their head off, and then they split into 2 more demons, so now there's 4. One that can fly, and one that stabs Genya in the stomach with a spear. The one that can fly takes Tanjiro off somewhere, and then we see Misty Boy pull up to save the little boy. He got this little fish creature attacking him. So he saves the boy, and the boy's like, yo, Tanjiro's blacksmith's in trouble, we gotta save him so he can finish that sword. So they Sonic their ass over there. Now Tanjiro over here getting mouth blasted, and in a panic, he splits him in 2. And he's scared because he thinks they're gonna split into more monsters, but this time they don't. They just become 2 weaker versions of the same one, and Tanjiro theorizes that those main 4 are all they can split into, and if they split any further, it's weaker, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, Nezuko and Genya are fighting the rest of the Goop Troop back at the original spot. Spear Guy has Genya impaled, but Genya said, whatever, shooters keep shooting. But every time it looks like Genya dead, this nigga get back up. Is he immortal or something? I don't fucking know. Nezuko having a tough time over here too. She over here struggling with dude, and he puts his foot through her.
You got kicked in your chest.
Then Nezuko starts popping off, setting people on fire, ripping off hands, blowing them away with their own weapons. Then she gets stabbed in the neck. While Tanjiro's over here fighting Birdman, he uses him a taxi to get back to Nezuko, right? And then he saves Nezuko, then Nezuko saves him, then they both get knocked out. Meanwhile, fishes are attacking the city, and Titties is trying to get into the battle. Titty Hashira takes care of all the fish in the town and saves everybody there. And Tanjiro and Nezuko get blown out the house like they some 3 little pigs. Misty Boy makes it to the shed, but Fish Demon is there. And Fishy Boy weird, he always talking about art or some boring shit. Like the second you mention Picasso, he's gonna be like,
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
And Misty Boy ain't having none of that horny shit, so he attacks him. Fishy Boy teleports away, then he shows that he can create cannons out of his hand that shoot out fish, that then shoot out spikes out of their mouth. I don't know, it's a little convoluted, not gonna lie. But Misty Boy gets porcupined up trying to save the other 2 guys that are there. Then right after that, Fishy Boy puts him in this little bubble of water, and now he's stuck. Back to Tanjiro and Nezuko though. They in the rubble, and Nezuko's got his sword and she's putting her blood all over it. So now that the sword's on fire, he goes Super Saiyan and sets it on fire some more. and he slices through 3 of them. While he's looking for the 4th, he sees that Genya cut his head off, but now Genya looking like a demon. This nigga full of surprises. Tanjiro starts to wonder why they're not all disintegrating, but then he says he gets a whiff of a new demon. So while Tanjiro and Nezuko try and hold off those other demons, Genya goes and searches for the new one, while Tanjiro's giving him directions to where he smells them at. And then Genya finds him, and he's like a small little version of the main demon we saw, so he gives chase. And he catches up to him and tries to cut his neck, but his sword breaks. Then we get some Genya backstory, right? His older brother's one of the other Hashira. I don't remember which one or their names or anything. And they got a lot of other siblings. One night their parents get turned into a demon. They come to kill all their siblings. Older brother saves him and only him, and yeah. Anyway, Genya's all sad remembering this, right? And Tanjiro comes and saves him, like, hey, stop being a bitch. Let's go. We got shit to do. But then Spear Guy shows up and he's about to blow Tanjiro's back out, right? But then we see Genya save him. And they got this nigga looking like Swiss cheese. But somehow he still ain't dead. And he got enough energy to bust off too. Anyway, they switch places and now Tanjiro gives chase. He summons his lightsaber, and right as he's about to slash his neck, the demon of Christmas passes on his ass. And he uses drums and he summons like these rock dragons or some shit. I don't know. But what I do know is his design is dope as fuck. And then we learned that the anger demon actually sucked up the other demons to become this guy. And then they do the anime dance, like the bad guy's like, you know, you're the villain. And then Tanjiro's like, no, actually, you're the villain. But before they start fighting, we cut to Misty Boy. He's stuck in there, and anything he tries to do to get out don't work. Meanwhile, Fish Demon enters the shed, right? And he sees Tanjiro's sword guy working on his sword and shit. And he goes on this small, horny rant about art and concentration. And he wants to make the swordsmith stop working on the sword. This whole time, Misty Boy's been talking to like Tanjiro or his dad. I don't know, it's not important. The point is he gets out a little water bubble at the end of the episode. Then we get some Misty Boy backstory, right? His daddy was a tree nigga and he used to be out there helping him. Mama was sick and whatnot, and they was poor. Daddy went to go get this plant that would save her off the side of a cliff. He falls and dies. Mama died too from the illness. Oh yeah, he got a twin brother. This story take up almost a full episode, so we gonna speed it up. A demon comes in one day talking that good shit, really hurts his brother, and so he ends up killing the demon in a rage. Goes back home to his brother, but his brother's like basically dead. And in remembering this in the present time, Misty Boy gets like the little Super Saiyan marks that Tanjiro be getting in this show, and he saves the little boy. Fish Demon's still mad at the swordsmith, and Misty Boy goes in there to help, but he blows up the house with a bunch of tentacles or something. And Swordsmith Man is unfazed. Anyway, Misty Boy gets a new sword, and this is where the fight between him and Fishman really pop off. Now again, the fight's dope, but it's the B plot, and it takes the majority of this episode. And I'm here for the wider story beats, not the intricacies of a small fight. So make sure you go experience the full thing for yourself. Anyway, Misty Boy wins, cuts his ass up, Swordsmith Man still going ham, and then we cut to the main fight. And they over here struggling a little bit, right? Tanjiro gets his eardrums burst, so he's dizzy. Then he gets his foot completely smashed up. Now these are two things you need to run effectively. And right after these happen, Tanjiro is just sprinting away from the fight. Right. Anyway, Tanjiro then gets eaten up like it's Attack on Titan. But before he's crushed, Titties comes and saves him and gets him out. And I know exactly what Tanjiro's thinking at this moment.
I'm just a nigga that love titties.
So Titties is all like, yo, I'm here to rescue my friends. And the demon just looks at her and says,
Shut up, bitch!
Son is coming. I told you that.
That's crazy, man. Damn, son. That's crazy.
So Titties goes in for the attack, and she's holding her own too. And right when she's about to go and cut his head off, Tanjiro's like, nah, player, that's not the main head. And that's when the demon screams at her ass. But he thinks that attack should have killed her, so now he's dumbfounded. He's like, well, maybe my sound waves couldn't get around them big ass titties to her ears or something, so I'm just gonna knock her ass out. And then we get some of her backstory. Now, Titties is actually the love Hashira, so we get her backstory, and it's about like her finding love or something. It's really shitty, to be honest, so whatever. The whole gang comes through and saves her from the punch, and now she's all fired up. So she goes in the attack, and the rest of the gang goes to find the main body. They find it and we're trying to open it. Genya reveals that he can get like demonic powers by consuming demons. So that's how he's been doing this shit this whole time. Anyway, they open it, little demon nigga dips off. They giving chase, but he dodging everything. And I mean, this little nigga zooming. Tanjiro starts thinking back to a conversation he had with Zenitsu. And Zenitsu was just like, bro, just use my attack. And right before he cuts his head off, this nigga proves that he's a grower, not a shower. A little scuffle happens, and then the demon, Tanjiro, and Nezuko end up falling off this cliff. Nezuko knocked out, Tanjiro up a tree, and Demon Dude starts chasing these other guys so he can eat them and regenerate. But finally, Tanjiro gets his new sword, and he puts on his jet feet and decapitates the big demon. But now we get a huge dilemma. Tanjiro sees the sun coming up, so he goes to try and save Nezuko because she's out in the open. But Nezuko's like, nah, you need to go save them niggas over there because the demon's still going. Tanjiro realizes that wasn't the main body the whole time, so he goes to finish it off. But the sun pulls up and starts roasting Nezuko. Tanjiro runs to protect her, and he don't really know what to do. But Nezuko gives him like a Ryu back throw, telling him, get your ass out there and save those people. Cute little montage happens about some of their moments, which really is the crux of the show, so I love it. Anyway, so Tanjiro runs after him and he realizes that the main body's inside the big demon. So he cuts up the big demon and then he cuts off the little demon's head. Also, I usually don't talk about the music, but the music in this scene is dope. And honestly, the music in this whole season has been pretty spot on. So anyway, Tanjiro won, but he's sad because he had to sacrifice his sister, right? But the niggas he saved are like, yo, Tanjiro, look behind you. And he turns and it's Nezuko walking just fine in the sunlight. She don't even got that little mouth guard thing no more. And she finally says her first words in a long time.
What's up, nigga, bitch?
And Tanjiro is elated. Then we see Muzan Jackson over here, right? He's bugging out because he finally, like, I guess, sensed that Nezuko can withstand the sun. And we learn that that's been his goal, like, the whole time. We see some of his backstory, and way back in the past, he was like a mean-ass bitch, and he had, like, AIDS or something like that. I don't know. And this guy was trying to cure him, but he killed him, right? Turns out that the cure worked, and it made him really strong, but then he couldn't go in the sunlight, and he became, like, the fucking demon shit we know now, right? And he just been running around killing niggas ever since. But for him to become truly powerful, he needed to be able to be out in the sun, and he couldn't find like this little flower for it, so he needed a demon to do it, and now Nezuko can do it, so now he wants to kill Nezuko, blah, blah, blah. After that, we get the typical like happy hijinks of the end of a shonen fucking arc, and then we roll credits. Good season, not as good as last season. My favorite part was when Nezuko was like,
What's up, nigga, bitch?